Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 platform style bike rack for two bikes on a 2022 BMW X3. Now this NV is a platform style bike rack for two bikes in this configuration. It's also available in three different colors. You have a matte black, a gloss black, and then this nice gunmetal gray that you see here. When it comes to the world of platform style bike racks, you have two real main options that separate the two, and that would be your frame mount versus your wheel mount. And your frame mount is going to be good to hold and cinch down your frame of the bike, and it's going to keep it in place quite well. The wheel does just as good of a job, but the wheel mount, putting the pressure on the tire, gives you an added sense of mind that it's not going to be scratching anything. As it's clamped down on the tire, it's not going to cause any potential marks. And also, if you have a carbon frame bike, this is ideal because sometimes your frame mounts can actually cause damage and warp the frames of those carbon. So besides our wheel mount, you also have this ratcheting strap here on the back, and this does slide to account for a variety of different wheelbases on bikes. And as far as the type of bikes you can load up here, this actually has a weight rating of 60 pounds per bike. So you can put some pretty heavy bikes on here. And as far as the tires go, it does go up to 3 inches wide, so that's going to accommodate a lot of those chunkier mountain bike tires. And if you have a fat tire bike, they actually sell an adapter kit that is going to widen this up, and you'll be able to carry that as well. Now, another factor to take in consideration if you've settled on a platform style rack is if you want the tilt feature or not. And a lot of people say, I don't necessarily need that. Well, being someone that's lived with a bike rack for a long period of time, and I still run errands, before or after my ride, and I store a lot of my bike riding gear in my trunk, that tilt feature has come in handy so many times. And the reason being, if I'm done riding and I need to stop by the grocery store, I can simply tilt this down with the lift of that knob, and then I can still gain access to my rear hatch without any clearance issues. So that way, you're not in the parking lot of a grocery store and having to take your bike off and balance it against something. You can simply open up, still gain access to whatever you may need, and then whenever you're done, you can close this, and snapping this back into place is also easy, just like that. Now, one of the other great features is getting this bike off is super easy. You simply push the button here on this little ratcheting strap, and the bike is staying up by itself. You can hold the handlebars here. I'm going to push this button in, raise this up, that drops out of the way, and then I can get to my frame nice and easy. There's nothing in the middle here blocking, and you can just carry it off. So let's go ahead and get a few quick measurements. From the furthest point of the vehicle on the rear fascia to the furthest point on the rack, we're looking at 34 inches. So that's important to note that you are adding nearly 3 foot of added length to your vehicle. So if you're used to parking in your garage or a certain parking spot all the time, just remember you are adding quite a bit to the length of the vehicle. Now, we're also going to check the ground clearance here. So from the bottom of the rack to the ground, that's going to put us right at 11 inches. So something to take in consideration if you take your mountain bike to an off-road park, or maybe you're just kind of going on an adventure, or even city driving where there's inclines. You're going to want to make sure that you're making good thought processes and going up inclines, because as the vehicle goes up, this will go down and it can damage your bike rack. While it does add quite a bit of length when you don't have bicycles attached to it, it does actually have a nice feature included with that tilt. Not only does it tilt down to access the trunk, but it tilts up, and that's going to save you a ton of space. In fact, how much? We're sitting at about 17 inches from the rear fascia to the furthest point here, so it nearly cut that in half. Now with this folded up, it really does look nice. Kuat's done a fine job of really creating a presence even when you don't have your bikes loaded up. This does stand out on the highway, especially to fellow bike riders. And the anodizing does a fine job of that, as well as all the colors that they offer. They're really gorgeous looking. Now, something else that's nice, you'll see this here. If you've been out and about riding and you need to do some maintenance on your bike, sometimes you're left actually leaning against a car or a tree or whatever you can find. Well, this actually has a built-in bike stand, so you can open this up, you can hang your bike in here and work on whatever you need to. It's a pretty nice feature to have, and it's one of those things you don't realize until you need one. Something else that's great about this bike rack is if your family grows and you have some more riders in the house, you can actually expand this bike rack to add extra platforms on. So if you buy this and later on you need to grow, you don't have to get rid of this rack. You can actually just upgrade it and it's still gonna have all those awesome features. With a nice tool-free design here, you have this turn knob, and what this does is this is actually moving a ball inside of the receiver tube opening, and when that tightens up, that's going to close up any of those voids, making sure that this bike rack is staying in place inside of the receiver tube. Another great feature that Kuat has opted to throw in is this lockable pin, and it's really nice because it's keyed specifically to this, and it's also keyed to the integrated bike locks that are on the rack itself. So not only can you lock your bike rack in place and it's not going to go anywhere, but you can lock your bikes in with that same key and the integrated locks. So security across the board comes with this Kuat.
This is our test course. Let's start with the slalom. This shows side-to-side action, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvering. Then onto our alternating speed bumps. This shows twisting action, such as hitting curbs, potholes, road debris, or even uneven pavement. Last of all, the solid speed bumps. This shows up and down action, such as driving through a parking lot or parking garage, or driving in and out of a driveway.
Final thoughts. This is a premium bike rack. It's definitely, you'll have to save a little bit more than some of your other bike racks out on the market, but I do think this is one that really stands out aesthetically. So on a car like a BMW, this really goes well with it. And honestly, I've used the Kuat products on my own vehicles and I have nothing but great things to say. And mostly because living with it, I realized the thought process, the engineering, and the touch points they've put into this. The fact that you can add on to this to make it bigger, the fact that it has a tool stand already built in and integrated locks is really, really nice to have. So if you're a very avid bike rider or someone that knows they're going to want to ride for a long period of time, this is a rack that you can buy, be happy with, and you probably will never have to replace it. And that was a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 on a 2022 BMW X3. Thanks for watching.